My name is Jamin Goecker. I'm a realtor in South Central Alaska, and my mission is to help you to build an intentional and significant legacy for yourself and your family by coaching in real estate. And the purpose of today's video is to give you the market update for what's going on in Eagle River, Alaska. This continues to be a pretty interesting market, so I've been keeping a really close eye on it for about the past year and a half, just to see how everything's being impacted by COVID. And there's definitely some seasonal changes that we've seen here. So we'll jump into that in just a minute. If you haven't done so already, you know what to do. Give this video a like, makes it easier for other people to find this video later, and make sure you subscribe so it's easier for you to find it later. Without further ado though, let's go and jump into the market update for what's going on in Eagle River, Alaska, looking specifically at the residential, condo, and the multifamily market. The first thing we're going to look at is the residential market, and the first aspect of the residential market we need to look at is what's going on in the active inventory. So the inventory went from 101 this time last year, looking at the month of October, down to 70 this year. So pretty in line with what we've seen for the rest of the year. I'll save the analysis for the summary though. The second thing that we want to look at in Eagle River is what's going on in the total number of homes sold. It's one thing to have a drop in inventory, but if comparatively the same number of houses that we've sold has gone down, it doesn't really have that big of an effect. But what we're seeing is that the number of properties that actually sold in Eagle River stayed exactly the same. So there's about a 30% cut in the inventory, and we sold 60 properties in the month of October last year, and we sold 60 homes in Eagle River for the month of October just a couple weeks ago. So that's the second thing. We're seeing no big change in the number of properties that have actually sold. Next, what we're seeing is that the average sold price in Eagle River went from about $374,000 this time last year in October to $429,000 this year. So we'll dissect that a little bit more in the summary, but suffice it to say, average sold price definitely up in Eagle River. Next, let's go ahead and check out and see what's going on in the condo market in Eagle River for the month of October. So we're not seeing a whole lot of movement here, and keep in mind, condos are not particularly common in Eagle River. They're definitely not something where they don't exist, but they're definitely not a huge segment of the market up here. So there was roughly about 10 homes that are on the market this year. Last year, closer to about 14 or 20. So a little bit of a dip, but we're not talking huge swings here either way. The next thing we need to look at for condos is the number of units sold, and this is where it gets a little interesting because we had 6 condos that sold this time last year, and for the month of October this year there are 15. So there's obviously a pretty significant uptick in the number of condos that have sold in Eagle River during the time period that we're looking at. Finally, for condos, what we're seeing is there was actually a pretty big shift where the average sold price this time last year was about $218,000, and it jumped up to $288,000. So about a $70,000 spike in the average sold price for condos here in Eagle River. Now, there's a lot of great factors that are contributing to make that happen, and we'll kind of peel back some of those layers and make a little bit more sense of it in the summary. But suffice it to say, it's a smaller pool that we're looking at, so might not be as scary as it sounds. Let's take a break real quick here. For those of you who've been watching for a while, you do know that I provide free resources for people who are moving up here to Alaska, and I do provide resources for people who are considering selling their homes as well. If that's something that you are considering, do make sure you reach out to me on my website. The link for that is going to be in the description section down below, and I do have a free seller guide that I give to people who reach out to me. It kind of lays out what the process is and really gives you a good feel for what it looks like when you're selling your home up here. So do make sure you take advantage of that. And without further ado, let's go and jump into the rest of the market update, looking at the multifamily section. Now, the first thing we need to check out, obviously, as far as the multifamily properties go, is what's going on in the total number of properties that are on the market. So not talking huge numbers here. It went from 8 that were available this time last year to 4 this year. And that's everything from the little mom and pop duplex up to like the commercial 30-plex property. So not a whole lot of inventory as far as the multifamilies go in Eagle River. Next, what we're seeing is the total number of properties that have sold in Eagle River for multifamily went from 1 this time last year to 3 this time this time this year. So that's, again, kind of a smaller market. Dissect that more in the summary though. And finally, let's take a look and see what's going on as far as the average sold price for the multifamilies in Eagle River go. So this looks really insane. It looks like the average sold price is actually almost doubled from where it was this time last year. It was about $325,000 for the month of October in 2020, and now it's about $610,000. So that just looks absolutely terrifying looking at it. But let's go and peel back some of the layers and jump into the summary right now. So let's go and start at the top, and let's take a look at residential. Across the board, we're seeing that the average sold price is staying really high just because the inventory remains really low and compressed. And we have seen signs that it's going to start creeping back up and becoming a little bit more favorable. But that's just kind of what it is right now. If you're a seller, absolutely awesome because you can get really good deals on your property and you can negotiate some really good terms. If you are a buyer, don't be afraid. We still have ways to try to find you more options if you're not liking what's immediately here on the market. So if that's something that you need help with, certainly reach out to me and be happy to help with that. On the condos, kind of the same story as what we're seeing on the residential side. There's been a real spike in the overall sold price and the number of units that have been selling. And that's probably because a lot of people are giving up on trying to find like a freestanding house and are like, condo's okay, let's just do that instead. And that works great. So that's one reason we're seeing that go up. Average sold price obviously has spiked significantly, and that probably has more to do with the fact that we just have newer condos being built, and those are going to sell at a higher rate. And when you have a small pool like what we have, it's going to have a disproportionate effect. Looking at multifamily, multifamily properties in Eagle River are always going to be popular just because the cap rate is such that you buy something here and you don't have to worry about it too much. That's really the joy of buying stuff in Eagle River. Really what I'm expecting is we had some large deals that sold it and threw the entire thing off. So if you have any questions on any of this, and whether you're a buyer or seller and you're trying to figure out how this market really applies to you and your specific situation, do make sure you reach out to me through my Facebook or Instagram website. All that stuff is going to be down below. So make sure to do that. And thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.